Hey guys, how's it hanging? Today, we're going to be checking out an amazing animation by a YouTube channel called TED, which created a video talking about the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. So let's dive right into it.
In the early hours of August 13th, 1961, East German construction workers, flanked by soldiers and police, began tearing up streets and erecting barriers throughout the city of Berlin and its surroundings. This night marked the beginning of one of history's most infamous dividing lines, the Berlin Wall.
So was this just like
Construction
unexpected?
on the wall continued for the next decade as it cut through neighborhoods, separated families, and divided not just Germany, but the world. To understand how we got to this point, we have to go back to World War II. America, Britain, and France joined forces with the Soviet Union against the Axis powers. After they defeated Nazi Germany, each of the victorious nations occupied part of the country. The division was meant to be temporary, but the former allies found themselves at odds over their visions for post-war Europe. While Western powers promoted liberal market economies, the Soviet Union sought to surround itself with obedient communist nations, including a weakened Germany. As their relations deteriorated, the Federal Republic of Germany was formed in the West, while the Soviets established the German Democratic Republic in the East. The Soviet satellite countries restricted Western trade and movement, so a virtually impassable border formed. It became known as the Iron Curtain. In the former German capital of Berlin, things were particularly complicated. Although the city lay fully within the East German territory of the GDR, the post-war agreement gave the Allies joint administration. So America, Britain, and France created a democratic enclave in Berlin's western districts. While East Germans were officially banned from leaving the country, in Berlin it was simply a matter of walking or riding a subway, streetcar, or bus to the western half, then traveling on to West Germany or beyond. This open border posed a problem for the East German leadership. They had staked a claim to represent the communist resistance against Hitler and portrayed Western Germany as a continuation of the Nazi regime. While the US and its allies poured money into West Germany's reconstruction, the Soviet Union extracted resources from the East as war reparations, making its planned economy even less competitive. Life in East Germany passed under the watchful eye of the Stasi, the secret police whose wiretaps and informants monitored citizens for any hint of disloyalty. While there was free healthcare and education in the East, the West boasted higher salaries, more consumer goods, and greater personal freedom. By 1961, about 3.5 million people, nearly 20% of the East German population, had left, including many young professionals. To prevent further losses, East Germany decided to close the border, and that's where the Berlin Wall came in.
Okay. Let me stop you right here before it goes like way too far and then I have a hard time catching my thoughts. There was something very interesting at the very beginning that I was like, what? No freaking way. The Berlin Wall took approximately 10 years to construct, and so my question here is, did we know about this ahead of time? Like, was this spoken about, or was this just like kind of like a secret operation that kind of like just happened? And another association that never crossed my mind, interestingly enough, is that all of this happened after World War II. Another thing that I find very curious is that even though the East and the West were trying to pretty much separate themselves with this Iron Curtain, I was aware that there was going to be differences on both sides or both territories. However, it sounds like completely two different countries, like higher wages on one, and then on the other one, you know, you get like health benefits and stuff. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. So that's very interesting. And nonetheless, you could take a bus between both of them.
Extending for 43 kilometers through Berlin and a further 112 through East Germany, the initial barrier consisted of barbed wire and mesh fencing. Some Berliners escaped by jumping over the wire or leaping from windows, but as the wall expanded, this became more difficult. By 1965, 106 kilometers of 3.6-meter-high concrete barricades had been added, topped with a smooth pipe to prevent climbing. Over the coming years, the barrier was strengthened with spike strips, guard dogs, and even landmines, along with 302 watchtowers and 20 bunkers. A parallel fence in the rear set off a 100-meter area called the Death Strip. There, all buildings were demolished and the ground covered with sand to provide a clear line of sight for the hundreds of guards ordered to shoot anyone attempting to cross. Nevertheless, nearly 5,000 people in total managed to flee East Germany between 1961 and 1989. Some were diplomats or athletes who defected while abroad, but others were ordinary citizens who dug tunnels, swam across canals, flew hot air balloons, or even crashed a stolen tank through the wall.
Yes, determination.
Over 138 people died while attempting escape, some shot in full view of West Germans powerless to help them. The wall stabilized East Germany's economy by preventing its workforce from leaving, but tarnished its reputation, becoming a global symbol of communist repression. As part of reconciliation with the East, the Basic Treaty of 1972 recognized East Germany pragmatically, while West Germany retained its hope for eventual reunification. Although the Eastern regime gradually allowed family visits, it tried to discourage people from exercising these rights with an arduous bureaucratic process and high fees. Nonetheless, it was still overwhelmed by applications. By the end of the 1980s, the liberalization of other Eastern Bloc regimes caused mass demonstrations for free travel and demands for democracy. On the evening of November 9, 1989, East Germany tried to diffuse tension by making travel permits easier to obtain. But the announcement brought thousands of East Berliners to the border crossing points in the wall, forcing the surprised guards to open the gates immediately. Rejoicing crowds poured into West Berlin as people from both sides danced atop the wall, and others began to demolish it with whatever tools they could find. Although the border guards initially tried to maintain order, it was soon clear that the years of division were at an end. After 4 decades, Germany was officially reunified in October 1990, and the Soviet Union fell soon after. Today, parts of the wall still stand as a reminder that any barriers we put up to impede freedom, we can also break down.
And I am so glad that those walls came down. It's a happy love story that Germany got the opportunity to be itself yet again. And wow, like, this wasn't even all that long ago. Like, given I wasn't born yet, 94. This happened in 90. But still, I think this video actually did a really good job kind of like filling in that gap of like knowledge and lack of knowledge that I did have in regards to the Berlin Wall. There was this politician that was about to go live on the news, and they had just recently handed him some papers that were talking about the Berlin Wall and like the passports in order to get transported across a little bit more easier. However, I didn't know that a lot of people were already getting like riled up by this, and they had already showed up to these walls, and it took the guards by surprise. So that was interesting. And nonetheless, so going back to what I was saying, this politician that was going live on the news didn't read the paper thoroughly, and kind of somewhat by mistake said that the wall was coming down. And then for some odd reason, David Hasselhoff was there, and he sung or did a magic trick for some reason. I really don't understand the context of that. But anyways, it's on video. This 6-minute animation did a phenomenal job bringing the story to life. Honestly, kudos to the team over at TED Ed. Well, I learned something new today, and I hope that you did too. It would be super uber cool if you could leave a comment down below sharing what it is that you learned, or otherwise, I know all the cool kids now hang out on Instagram. Here's my Instagram. You can send me a message on there as well. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos I have created in the past. I think you would really thoroughly enjoy them. Otherwise, subscribe, like, share this with a friend. You know, the same thing you've been hearing for multiple years. Great chatting with you guys again, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.